to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. LSU baseball season comes to an end. The Tigers lose 8-7 in the regional final against Southern Miss. Ultimately, Southern Miss had a bit more pitching than LSU did, came up with a few clutch hits. Tiger baseball, which the defense has been a bugaboo all year. A couple of misplays in this ball game, which really cost you a run scored on a pass ball by the catcher, inability to field a bunt allowed a big inning, which could have been mitigated to a run, but or 2 runs, but became 4. So, it's a bummer that it ended the way it did. But I think the sort of consensus feeling here should be: listen, if you're an LSU fan, you're never going to be happy with traveling in the regional round and losing. I mean, LSU is a program made to and built to host postseason play. And the fact that LSU hasn't hosted a postseason game in Alex Box Stadium since the Super Regional loss to Florida State in 2019 is really sad. The fact that some of these really good players that have come through here have never gotten to play a postseason game at the box, it sucks. So that part of it sucks. The flip side of it is, I think, understanding, in a transitional year, Jay Johnson, in a transitional year with really no starting rotation, relying so heavily on the bullpen, a team that was defensively, statistically, the worst they fielded since 2007, Paul Maneri's first year. To win 17 league games, I still feel should have hosted a regional. You had an RPI right around 20, and to have been there, needing to win 1 to advance the Super Regional round, to really be 3 wins away from Omaha is pretty remarkable. So, look, they're going to turn over half this roster. We could talk about it. We talked about it a lot last night. There's already close to a dozen guys that have already basically been informed that they won't be back. And then when you look at all the guys that are either seniors or are going to go pro, you're going to turn over half this roster. And Jay Johnson's going to build it in his image, and I think we're all going to like the results. So, got to get there though. Okay, we'll say some good morning, see what y'all got. Truax, if you want to talk about the game itself, you want to talk about the season, recap, all that stuff, feel free. I got a little bit of time. I have I'll be at home here with Drew until I have a conference call at 8:30, and then I have a GameCoin board meeting today at 9. So for those that are invested in GameCoin, we have our Tuesday board meeting. So anyway, so I got till about 8:30. So fire away. Truax, what's good? Thomas Bergeron, Brant Roban, Morning Scone. Been living in Knoxville since '99. Have never had anything against UT. Okay, babe.
What was that loud noise?
I don't know.
You hear that beep?
I thought it was him. I don't know. I can't stand the arrogance of these fans, some players flipping the bird, etc. Act like you've been there before. My gosh, I'm with you, Brant. But they are teams. You hear this all the time. Teams take on the personality of their coach, and Tony Vitello is an a-hole. He is, and his team has taken on his personality, and they're apparently quite content to be the heel in college baseball. Bruce Parker, get better pitching, and we kick behind on football and the Brian Kelly era. Yeah, I think some of those answers are already on campus. I think a healthy Javen Coleman, I think an improved moved Ty Floyd. Blake Money still has certainly the opportunity to be a real contributor. I mean, you've got. I guess my point is you've got arms here already. I'm assuming Bryce Collins is going to come back. You've got arms already that can be real key contributors and really good pieces for you. And you go add some of those pieces this off season via transfer portal. If you can get a starting pitcher, or see which of these guys. Astros and Mariners throwing at people. We'll see which these guys end up on campus. Matthew Denicola, please get a better backup catcher. That became a big part of last night's conversation, as you might expect. But for all of you who pushed back on me all year about Alex Milazzo because he can't hit, I think by the end of the season you finally saw it. It took a lot of doing for me to continue to point out over and over and over again, so you saw what was probably background or something you just ignored for most of your life because you just stare at offensive statistics, to realize how important a great defensive catcher is. Let's see, Blake DeVilliers I guess it's about to bring my little man to see Dr. Faust at Brock. Okay. Oh. Fell and suffered a spiral fracture in his left leg. Hopefully they can get him back on. Blake, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Gosh, dog it, that stinks. But yeah, man, Brock's the best. We saw Dr. Collada. Brad Collada is a Catholic High alum and was a classmate. A great dude, and we saw Dr. Faust. He didn't treat Drew, but we just saw him, literally saw him there. But they're all great. So hope your little man gets up and rolling soon, man. Shelby had time to sleep on it. Further I get away from it, the more impressed I am with Jay. He's going to be great here for a long time. No one will ever be Skip, but he could be the second best coach when it's all said and done. Let's see. Mark, good morning. Southern Miss pitching against LSU hitting. It was a great regional. It was a lot of fun. Southern Miss pitching coach is going to get a big raise. He should. Should be a lot of people knocking on that door. Deborah Coward, good morning, Matt. All things considered, this year was a rebuilding one. Looking forward to next year. Forever LSU baseball. Right. Jump over here. I see some good mornings on YouTube. I'll kind of go back and forth. YouTube, please smash that like button. If you're new, please subscribe up to the Matt Moscota channel. Joey Vincent, what's good? Trivia Carter. Eric Dietrich, good morning. Wendell Norman. Hoodie Jube, what's good, dude? That's a good Saints follow there if y'all want. Go subscribe up to Hoodie Jube's page. Kind enough to have me on the show a while back. Leon Williams, good morning. Reed Rule, morning Scone. Do we start seeing departures after exit interviews? Do you guys typically wait until later in the summer? No, you'll start to see it. I mean, you'll probably start to see guys post on social media. Some have already left. So, I don't mind mentioning. I mean, because the ones that are already, like Will Helmers, for example. Will Helmers isn't going to play baseball anymore. It was kind of like, man, look, if you're the way it's how some of those conversations go. It's like, listen, you're not gonna pitch here, so you should get in the portal and see a place to pitch. And I think you just would rather be a student at LSU than pitch. And if you don't love baseball enough to go find a place to play somewhere else, then you probably don't need to be playing at LSU. Is kind of thing. So, but I mean, you all know the names. Guys, Brody Drost, who just battled injuries and won't be back. You had older guys like Gio won't be back, and you get your seniors like Bianco and Vittmeyer and Fontenot and Hilliard, and then you could look at your guys that just haven't played a bunch. You've got Safford and Holt, and I mean you all know the names. I mean you know who the guys are. So, but it's what he's got to do, man. You got to build your roster. Larry Garner, good morning. Let's see, B1NG James, you put those USM fans in their place. Go. Well, look, it was. I wouldn't even say it was all of those fans. But last night there was some guy who was jumping into the chat he was a Southern Miss fan and was just being rude and chippy. And I guess my point was, hey man, look, I've been nothing but complimentary to Southern Miss. I've never been an instigator. That's not my role. I've never been the antagonist. What I will absolutely do, and this is true on AFR as well, because people are like, oh, you're rude to callers or this or that. No. If you are rude to me, if you fire the first shot, brother, you're getting like an arsenal fired back at you. Like, I will always retaliate with stuff like that. But I'm never going to be an instigator. Like, I've been nothing but complimentary to Southern Miss. None of this is about Southern Miss. They're a great team, and like really, I've said all year that I felt they should have been a national seed, second best ERA in college baseball. Tons of respect for the job Scott Berry's done, who's been very kind to me over the years with the time he's given the show when LSU's played Southern Miss. Again, this isn't about Southern Miss. Like, seriously, congrats, enjoy it. But if you're a Southern Miss fan and you start like jumping in and being chippy and chirpy and like taunting LSU fans and being a jackass, well, like, you're going to get verbally pimp slapped because Southern Miss and LSU are not the same and never will be. It's like when Lehigh beat Duke in the NCAA tournament. Congrats. Like, CJ McCollum was awesome. 15 beat a 2, and that happens. But Lehigh will never be Duke. You know what I mean? Like, it's comparable like that. But so, I mean, this in a vacuum can exist, and you can say, congratulations to Southern Miss. It's a great win for their program. It is. And by the way, I hope they beat Ole Miss. I have no desire to watch an SEC West school go to Omaha. Southern Miss going to Omaha doesn't do anything for LSU. Watching Ole Miss go to Omaha when the joke is Ole Miss ain't here at Omaha, Ole Miss ain't here again. I mean, I don't want Ole Miss to go to Omaha. So I wish Southern Miss the best of luck, man. I seriously hope they win this weekend. Oh, God. Matt Lusto, the friggin' kid yelling throw it in the dirt is still ringing in my ears. Brandon, I think we need to go get a first baseman so Morgan can move to the outfield, then see if you can move Pearson to the infield. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen, man. Pearson's going to be an outfielder. So, I think you got your outfield set for next year with Pearson in right, Cruz in center, and Stevenson in left. I mean, I think that's your starting outfield. Now, as we saw this year, injuries happen and things happen. But, I think the biggest question for LSU for next year is, can they get a transfer at shortstop, which I think they're going to pursue? Will Cade Doty return, which I think is a possibility, especially because of his injury? And can you get Gavin Guidry on campus? If you do, then you have a good problem, which is a lot of talent, not enough spots. That's where you want to be. Brandon Williams, good morning, Taz. What area does LSU need to recruit to get the prize? Pitching. They need starting pitching. It is. I mean, I guess there's two ways to look at it. I mean, LSU didn't have a rotation this year, so I know fans will look and say, how can this staff not have a rotation? And I would say the flip side of it is it's kind of incredible they did what they did without true starting pitching. When you asked your bullpen to eat up so many innings and so many leverage spots. Tim Gotro, Leon Williams. This is the first they've been to the Super Regional, so they haven't been there before. They just don't have class, it seems. That's not true, Leon. Southern Miss went to Omaha in 2009. The last time LSU won it, Southern Miss was there. So they have been in the Super Regional round before. Gulf South, did you see Alex Lang pitch went viral yesterday? I did. We talked about it on Tigers and the Pros. I tweeted out, I'm like, damn, Lang, like, where was that when you were here, bro? I mean, he was awesome when he was here, but he wasn't throwing wiffle balls. Good question, Taz. Has Alante Taylor signed yet? If not, what's the issue? I don't know, candidly. I don't know. Um, I don't know. Let me see if I can find out. Ronnie Dugas, Shane Danos, just checked out the class coming in. We've got some arms coming for next year. Oh yeah, Shane. Like, make no mistake about it. The cavalry's on the way. It's just how many of these guys will actually show up on campus, how many sign pro contracts, and can they maybe go get a starting pitcher out of the portal if it plays out that way. And one of the challenges this year is with the draft moving back to July. Remember, it used to be in June, like during the World Series. But with the draft moving to July now, you've got another month of a buffer where you're looking at the portal and you're trying to decide which guys to take or what spots you'll have when you're not sure yet which of your signees are going to end up on campus. Hey, Kelly Gross, good morning. Still heartbroken our season is over. And look, trust me, as a fan, I hate it. The other part of it too, Kelly, is as a radio host, this means the end of live sports for the teams that I cover until August. You know what I mean? Until the Saints preseason. So, it's June the 7th, right? June 7th. So, SEC Media Days isn't until July 19th, I think. So, we got about 5 weeks until Media Days. And, after Media Days, then like the next week, the Saints report for camp. And then a week after that, LSU reports for fall camp. And then, then you can feel it. But next 5 weeks, let's have some fun. Pat Huseman, look, it is what it is. You play the hand that's dealt to you. My trust and respect is in Jay Johnson. Hopefully he makes the right talent evaluations on pitching and on these skilled defensive positions as well. Well said. Let's see. Mark, would you say overall LSU baseball had a successful season in year one with Coach Johnson, or more was expected than a loss in the regional? I mean, Mark, no matter the year, no one's ever going to expect LSU to lose in a regional, but it's also part of the reality, man. Like, it's harder than ever to win in college baseball. LSU fans don't like hearing that, but it's true. It's harder than ever to win in college baseball because it's a sport where Southern Miss can have the number 2 ERA in the country. It's a sport where East Carolina and Georgia Southern can host. It's a sport where Coastal Carolina and Fresno State can win a national championship. Like, that can't happen in football or basketball because of the nature of the sport. It is possible it is harder to win now because you have more teams and more programs investing resources into college baseball. So you have more better teams. So it is harder to win. That's not an excuse, but it's also how explains it? We're supposed to have Josh Smith on today, but the Rangers and the Guardians got postponed. So they're playing a doubleheader today. Dang it. Okay, I guess I'll have Josh Smith on tomorrow. Cale Reynolds, that's fair. Arms have good stuff, need to develop better command and secondary pitches. All that, it's just development, and all that'll come. So always shout out to Brock, y'all. Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Remember Brock, Rock, and Wine. They're one big fundraiser every year. New date, new location, August the 6th at Tiger Stadium. Get your tickets, brortho.com, brortho.com. And, of course, Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Roof repairs, roof replacements. And if you are a contractor and you have new construction going up, we would love to give you a bid on that new construction project. So Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, or as I always say, you can contact me directly, Matt at HudcoRoofing.com, M-A-T-T, Matt at HudcoRoofing.com. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Eric Dietrich, I know college baseball recruiting isn't as widely reported as college football, but any suggestions on good local LSU sources to follow? No. Sorry. There's just nobody that really covers it widely until it's time to cover it. Rager's 1319, all things considered, season was a success. Southern Miss is way better than fans are giving them credit for. Wouldn't be surprised to see them make a run. Listen, they've gotten plenty of credit here. Brian R., USM guy here. Ignore the idiot fans, please. Everyone has them. Unfortunately, enjoy your show, Matt. Thank you, Brian. No, listen, for sure. And I think the overwhelming majority have been like you. But if you do have the fan that jumps up and chirps and is that guy, he's going to get verbally pimp slapped. That's just the way it goes. But yes, thank you. Thanks for watching. Matt Lusto, do you and Terrio still hold the opinion that Morgan makes throws look harder than they should? I want to be very clear. I think defensively, Trey Morgan is magnificent. He is completely deserving of being defensive all-SEC team. So please don't misunderstand. The point, and Terrio made that point on AFR one time, and it's a good point, Matt, and thank you for bringing that up. Trey has a habit at times of instead of stepping toward the ball, stepping back over the baseline to make catches. It makes the throw look worse than it is. So instead of extending toward the ball, right, Trey will move into foul territory to catch a ball and avoid a runner. And it makes it look way worse than it is. Now, at this level of baseball, like, set your feet, hit the first baseman in the chest. Like, one of the best lines I ever heard, and I'll give you, this was, interestingly enough, Matt, this was Terrio relaying a conversation he had early in his career from Omar Vizquel. Omar Vizquel is one of the best defensive shortstops, certainly of the last quarter century. And Omar Vizquel said, it doesn't matter if he's out by 2 steps or 2 inches, he's still out. So take your time, set your feet, and make an accurate throw. I think that was a problem LSU had a lot this year. Was just, going through the going through the necessary fundamentals of fielding the ball, transferring to your hand, and then delivering an accurate throw. Luke Cranford, do you think Dugas comes back after being injured all season? I'd love to see him back. I know Jay Johnson would love to see him back, and I would probably guess so. I don't know what Gavin's big league prospects are. He certainly has power, but he's probably, you never want to say never on a guy, but he doesn't have the great glove or great speed, but he can hit for power, and that's got tremendous value in today's game. So it would be curious to see where he would fit in, and that's a guy that even if he didn't play left could come back in DH. Cade Beloso is going to have an interesting decision to make, because I know there's a conversation about Cade had the surgery and might be looking to come back next year as well. So you could have some veteran guys with some pop. back next year. Connor O'Neill, do you think Southern Miss staff will be as sharp as they were this weekend? Keep in mind, Ole Miss played 3 games this weekend. Southern Miss had to play 5. Connor, yeah, they played a lot of innings, but man, they're so deep. They're so deep. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. But Ole Miss is as hot as anybody in the country right now. I mean, they blistered that regional down in Coral Gables. Now that's a good one. Jacob Sims said, what about Joe Bear, drafted or stay for another year? If he stays for another year, he loses all of his leverage, right? So financially, it would his best option would be to go pro now. But, he can't hit left-hand pitching. So, hang on a second. Sorry about that. Does a team draft Joe Bear just based on the raw power ability? Similar to Dugas, but from the left side. Reed Rule, what happens to Money? Is he back in the house? Sorry, that was Hudko's in the house. I combined two. Is he back next year? Yeah, Blake Money will be back next year. Eric Wildrod, appreciate all the baseball coverage as always. If there's a better local guy in the SEC, I want to meet him. Well, thank you, Eric. That's very kind of you to say, man. I appreciate it. I love doing it, man. As I say often, and I mean this sincerely, if y'all weren't here watching, I wouldn't be doing the show or any of this stuff. So otherwise, I'm just a guy sitting in a room talking. So I sincerely appreciate everybody that takes time to watch and to listen and to subscribe to the channel and like the page and all that sort of stuff. So thank you. Rapid Batches, what's up, Todd Ohms? Any regrets not hiring Bianco now? I don't think so, Todd. I mean, I think you got a younger coach, a process-driven coach, a super intensely motivated coach. No, I would 100 times out of 100 take Jay Johnson over Mike Bianco. And it's not to say Bianco is not a good coach or any of that stuff. But you have guys at different points in their career as well. Jay Johnson isn't leaving LSU for another college job. He's a guy that could literally be here for the next 20 years. He could do what Skip did or what Paul did. I mean, Skip was 18 years and Paul was 15 years. That's what you expect with Jay Johnson. I don't know that you would have gotten 15 years out of Mike Bianco. And the other part of it too is, whether this is fair or unfair, it's the reality of it. Is part of Mike Bianco's legacy is his teams have struggled in the postseason. They've not delivered in big moments. He's recruited well, he's developed well, but in the same way, we talk about players, taking on the personality of their coach, and with Tony Vitello, I think some of that's, you talk to people who've covered that Ole Miss program for a long time, they'll say the same thing. It's that Mike gets really tight in those moments, and the players reflect that as well. Taz, it's being predicted Sean Payton will return to football before the season's over. Oh, wow. By who? I don't know what Who Dat Dish is, but I don't know where Sean Payton returns before the season. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Are you saying? So you're saying that? Again, so Taz, I don't know if what you're saying. Oh, I got 10 more minutes. Taz, I don't know if what you're saying is Sean Payton will return before this season, or be committed to return before the 2023 season. Like I believe Sean Payton will be back in football in 2023, but not this year. And the other thing I'll tell you too is keep in mind, I say this and often I'll repeat it again, is be careful where you get your news. Okay, I don't know what Who Dat Dish is, but I mean if they're opinion makers there and you like listen to them or watching whatever they do, reading their stuff, fine. But when you're talking about breaking news, if Adam Schefter don't have it, if Mike Triplett don't have it, if Nick Underhill, the guys that cover this team and report on the team and know Sean Payton and like that guy don't have it. You know what I mean? So I say it all the time, consider the source. Gulf South, did Morgan play first in high school? Yes. Kenneth, he took Hilliard out way too early. Kenneth, I agree. I understand Jay's thinking. It's a one-game season. You'd rather take a guy out a hit or two early than a hit or two late. You had a whole bunch of arms ready behind him, allowed the leadoff runner to get on. I get it. I get what he was thinking. I also don't agree with it. You and I are on the same page, Kenneth, and I said that in real time. I would have liked to have seen Hilliard continue pitching in the fourth. I thought he had more outs to give. He had not walked a guy yet. Stuart Anger said Hilliard was hit hard. He gave up the leadoff homer, but he pitched around trouble and did not walk anybody. And the other thing that we saw about Southern Miss is they struggled more with a Bryce Collins, a Mikhail Hilliard, the guy with the off-speed stuff that changed eye levels and speeds, as opposed to your straight fastball guys, your power pitchers. So, let's see. So I do agree that I think Hilliard should have stayed in. And if you were going to pull Hilliard, I didn't like going to Gervais there. And look, y'all, I know hindsight's 20/20, but these were real-time thoughts that I shared on air. I get why you go to Gervais. You go from Hilliard, who's the 6-foot breaking ball pitcher, to Gervais, who's 6'10", weird arm slots, or you're changing eye levels, you're giving some different look, and I get that. But you asked Gervais to do something that hasn't been his role, which is, hey, come get me the final 3 outs. And in so doing, you also removed the option of going to Gervais to get the final 3 outs if you had a lead. And so that's what happened. You had to ask Razelman, who was great in the 8th, it was dominant in the 8th, to go back out and get you 3 outs in the 9th, and he faltered. If you had Gervais there in the 9th, maybe it goes differently, But, those are the questions you ask when a season comes to an end. Debbie Jenkins, what's up? Mark, Southern Miss won the bet, but I don't want to take the Bobby Aber autograph you got from the NOLA East gas station from you because it's part of your childhood and means more to you than it would me. I don't know that that's true, man. A bet's a bet, and again, I got to see if I can find it. But I told you, if I don't have that, I know I have Ricky Jackson or Dalton Hilliard, which I'm happy to send to you, Mark. What I told you is your job is you got to go find the original bet. Was it because I can't remember if it was the one game that LSU won or if it was the regional as a whole. But anyway. We'll bet again when LSU and Southern Miss play football one day. I think the last time was 6 years ago. LSU whooped Nick Mullins 44-10. Yeah, Southern. Well, look, I mean, I said, of course, '94 Southern Miss beat LSU in Baton Rouge, but Mark, it'll be a cold day in hell before Southern Miss ever beats LSU in football again. I hope we never get to those days again. Oh God, the Holman era. Let's see, Mark Bork. Good morning, Matt. Tigers definitely exceeded our potential with the inherited players and situation without pitching. Kenny Bergeron, Matt, who's coming back next year. Kind of went through that a little bit earlier. My apologies. I'm moving quickly because I only have about 5 more minutes. Earl, let's see, Matt. Did he take Hilliard out too early? Talked about that a little bit. I think so. But I also understand why he made the decision when he did. Kyle Taylor, good morning, Matt from Greensboro. 2 random thoughts. Touch on the catcher situation. I caught since a kid through high school. Now I'm the catcher's coach for my high school with my old head coach. 1, I was always taught not to focus on hitting, but to be a wall and frame the ball. You can be a bigger difference by preventing runs. 2, I read an interesting article about the Washington Nationals catching development. The reason for the knee down is to lower your body to give them a better view over the catcher. They teach it only in a bases empty count and less with 2 strikes. When expecting off speed or people, I guess that's on. No, that's good. That's good insight. That's really good insight. I always assume guys put their knees down to save their knee. We're talking about instead of a catcher being in the crouch, to put his knee down to essentially save their knees as much as they can. But that makes a lot of sense. Chase Pellegrin. Good morning, random FY. Southern Miss pitching is from Louisiana. You talking about the pitching coach, Ostrander? Or are you talking about Tanner Hall? Earl, everything on the line, tied up in the 9th, very heartbreaking. We tied at the bottom of the 8th, but couldn't win it in the 9th yet. Tyler Coleman, did they go after Tommy Tanks? The kid from NC State. Tyler, I don't know. I don't have any insight to what the kid from NC State is going to do. What I've been told from people around college baseball is they expect him to go to Florida State. I think he's from there, maybe he's from around there, and I think that's what he's probably going to do. Donnie Miller, hats off to Schlossnagel, inherited a much worse situation than Jay Johnson. Had them a 2 seed in the SEC tournament, won the regional they hosting a super. Yeah, I mean, listen. I would agree completely. I thought Schlossnagel did an amazing job this year because not many people were expecting much from them, and for A&M to have the type of season they've had is impressive. And Jim Schlossnagel's a great coach, and maybe if anything, that's more of a condemnation on what Rob Childress did there toward the end. Leo Williams, what's up? Shelby. It's LSU. We're going to take ground balls in practice. Let's see. Glenn Thomas C. Brian Wynn joined late. You may have touched on this. An early turning point was when Morgan was picked off second to kill the first inning scoring. That's absolutely true. There were those moments throughout the game. There was Morgan getting picked off. There was Bianco striking out in the bottom of the 6th with the bases loaded. Defensively, you had the pass ball that allowed a run. When Fontenot didn't field the bunt, allowed the big inning in the 7th. Yeah, that's really where the game changed, though. You were bottom 6, bases loaded, 2 outs, Bianco up. You strike out to leave 3 on base, and the top of the next inning, you go walk, hit by pitch, can't field the bunt, and just like that, boom. All right, a few more. Earl, be honest, Matt. LSU will be in the CWS next year. Jay has serious drive. I need to see who's pitching for this team, but it's possible. Look, this team without pitching was 3 wins away, and they were going to host a super regional in Baton Rouge that they won yesterday. So you'd have been 2 wins at home away from going home. So can they get to Omaha next year? Absolutely. But getting there and having an actual chance to win it are 2 different things. Let's see. Tyler Coleman, does Dugas play third next year if he stays? I can't see that. Richie Burt, Matt, assuming LSU gets big first base transfer, does Morgan get moved to the outfield for a more natural position? I don't think so, Richie. I think Morgan will be your first baseman next year as well. I think you're talking about Dugas. If anything, that would be the spot Dugas would play on the infield, would be first. But if you did that, then do you put Morgan in left? If so, then we do a Stevenson. So I think you leave well enough alone. You have Pearson in right, Cruz in center, Stevenson left, Morgan at first. And then you see what happens this offseason. Do you get Gavin Guidry on campus? Do you get a transfer at shortstop? The guy I keep mentioning that I think just to keep an eye on. Again, a long way to go, but Josh Day from Missouri, who had 340 this year. There's talks that like some of the scuttlebutt is that he may enter the portal to play his final year, try to go play for a contender in his final year. And I mean, LSU would obviously be one of the teams in the mix there. Again, we'll see. I mean, the kid didn't even enter the portal yet, but let's keep an eye on it. Okay, y'all, I got to bounce because it's 8:31 and I'm a minute late for my conference call. So thanks so much for watching. As always, y'all have a great day. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You need an orthopedist, you go to Brock, 6 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And of course, if you need a roof, we'd love to help you at Hudco Roofing. Hudco's pinned in the comments. Y'all click that link, the pinned link, and fill out the contact form. We'd love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. Or just email me directly, matt@HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, y'all have a great day. We'll see you. Peace.